AT makes it possible for individuals with disabilities do the things they want to do. It makes it possible for people to go to work, to volunteer, to visit with friends and families. AT makes it possible for someone to have a life worth living. So now it's time for me to introduce our incoming board president, Nancy Murray. Nancy is the executive director of the ARC of Greater Pittsburgh, Achieva. Nancy?
It's also my honor to be the incoming board president for Pennsylvania Assistive Technology Foundation. And I want to also announce that there are 8 board members in attendance this morning. So it's my pleasure to introduce you to them and to welcome you to our press conference. For the past 21 years, PATF has served people with disabilities and seniors by extending loans so they are able to purchase the assistive technology they need to live as independently as possible. Unlike traditional lending institutions, PATF is the only lender in Pennsylvania that offers consumer loans to borrowers who have high debt-to-income, poor, or no credit. PATF extends low-interest loans, mini loans, and guaranteed low-interest loans, all of which are explained more fully in our 2018 annual report. Before I introduce today's speakers, I want to share with you some of our amazing accomplishments from this past year. During 2018, 278 loans were extended to Pennsylvanians so they could purchase, among other things, hearing aids, vehicle adaptations, scooters, stair glides, air conditioners, and computers. We have one of the most dedicated group of staff I've ever had the pleasure of working with. They worked diligently this year so that the number of loan applications in 1 year increased by 33%. The extended loans totaled almost $1.5 million. And through the technical assistance they provided, they helped borrowers to save an additional $1 million through referrals to other funding resources. In addition, they provided an additional 1,178 people with information and referrals. Hey, in their spare time, they gave 122 presentations throughout the state of Pennsylvania about financial education, funding resources, and assistive technology. This year, PATF will be releasing the 6th edition of the only financial education publication for people with disabilities. It's entitled Sense and Sensibilities. And we are also celebrating the release of a brand new book, Funding Your Assistive Technology, a Guide to Funding Resources in Pennsylvania. And I invite everybody to pick up a copy over there at our resource table and also a copy of our annual report. And if that's not exciting enough, on October 3rd, PATF is going to be hosting a conference entitled Vision for the Future, Financial Empowerment for Individuals with Disabilities. And it's now my pleasure to introduce a highly respected disability advocate and fellow Pittsburgh resident, DJ Stemler, who's also a borrower from PATF and featured in our annual report. DJ?
Hi, my name is Deborah Stemler, otherwise known as DJ, and I've been working in assistive technology for 30 years. I know I don't look that old, but I really am. One of the things that I did in my first life as an assistive technology professional was try and get people out of nursing homes. And we transitioned 76 people from nursing homes into the community And I can tell you the single most deciding factor in those transitions was assistive technology. And it was also the most difficult to get funded. Having worked at the Center for Assistive Technology for 12 years, I felt like I knew everywhere, every source of funding there was for AT. And I really was creative at getting denials, filing appeals, and then having medical insurance companies come back and actually approve difficult to approve equipment. So I'm proud of that. But there are times whenever that's not an option, and those times are when PATF kicks in. I had a lot of important things written down on note cards today to say, and as is always the case, I had a disability moment in the bathroom right before I came where the notes got flushed, not intentionally. So I'm doing this from memory. But when Susan asked me if I could speak, I said I would love to, that PATF has saved my bacon several times, and they really have. In 2012, I was in a desperate situation that required either a Valium or a gun. At least that's what I thought. And what it ended up needing was a reliable vehicle that I could not get funded conventionally through commercial banks, through no fault of my own. I had high debt because of medical costs. I was supporting my mother, I was supporting my son, both who have disabilities, and because of those factors, I didn't qualify for commercial loans. I could get the value of the car funded, but I could not get the value of the adaptive equipment funded. So the combination of those two things in a vehicle is an absolute necessity for someone who has a disability. Without that vehicle, I was going to have to retire. I was going to have to stop working. I live an hour away from where I work, and there isn't any public transportation. There isn't any van pool that services our area where we live. And people were always saying, well, why don't you move closer? Affordable, accessible housing in a more populated area is almost impossible to find. So we went further out. We were able to find an accessible place, and we've been there 16 years. And truth be told, it's been a very functional place for us. But I just needed to find a way to get back and forth to work. And PATF did that for me. And without PATF's help, I not only wouldn't be bringing home the bacon, I probably at this point would have maybe taken the bridge. So I really appreciate PATF's role in providing services to people with disabilities, and I can't thank them enough for what they've done for me and for other people with disabilities.
Thank you, DJ. Thank you very much. So we'll move right along. We've got several legislators who've agreed to come and speak, and they've got incredible schedules I wouldn't want to compete with. First, we have our longtime friend, Senator Tartaglione. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. And I want to thank you for all the great work you do. Year after year, I come and I tell a story. I tell my story. It'll be 16 years. I was in a small boat in the back bay by Harrah's Marina, Labor Day weekend, a big boat with drunken kids at a high rate of speed, hit the side of the boat and kept going. I was on the front of the boat, and when the wake came, I went up, crushed my spine at T12, and crushed my spine at L1. Like that, my life changed. It changed in a second. I am so grateful that you, with the very little money that you get, and we try every year to put more money in there, you are able to help so many people, Susan, and you can touch them. I'm very lucky. I now have become my mother's caretaker, and she's in a wheelchair. So you should see the two of us go out together. It's a little difficult, I do drive, but it just makes me want to be able to do anything I can physically and to help you touch more people. Because I can't say it enough, that little bit of money that you get, you stretch it so far to help so many people. I don't think people understand that. And really, I have my letter into the governor to ask that you be funded again and make sure you try to get a little bit of a raise. But I want to thank you for everything you do.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you again. You've been a wonderful supporter. Our board is great, so thank you very, very much. Let's see. Oh, and we have a new senator who's new to our world, to us, Bartolotta. Welcome. And this is, I think, your first year of chairing the Labor and Industry Committee, correct? Yes. So I'm glad you get to know who we are.
Thank you, Susan. Thanks, Nancy. I have a lot of comments written here, but you know what? They don't make nearly as much sense as what's happened to me personally, and those folks that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. A couple of things. Chair of Labor and Industry. We want people to get back to work, and what we need to do as a government is get out of the way. We need to remove barriers instead of putting more in front of those people who just want to get on with their lives. I have dear friends who run Triple, and this organization does incredible things. There are a lot of disabled folks in this organization, and they swoop in when other folks get injured, whether it be a farmer, whether it be a police officer, whether it be anybody who gets hurt on the job, or even young people diving into a swimming pool in the shallow end. All sorts of reasons why things happen tragically to individuals. But the most tragic thing would be to not assist them in getting the equipment that technology can provide and get them back to school, get them back to work, get them back into their community, get them back to going to church, driving themselves their own doctor's appointments, visiting their children, their grandchildren. They just want to live their lives as normally as possible. And we need to be there to make sure that we fund folks just like you, and that we provide anything we can so that these folks can have the quality of life that they so deserve. Our public transportation is horrific. I live out in Western Pennsylvania. You can't get there from here in public transportation. And if you can, you can't get home from work. And if you can get public transportation, they're not ADA accessible, which is really a shame. So we need to be able to make sure that these folks can do on their own what they can do on their own. And we need to get out of the way and take those barriers down. And lastly, when I was 18, I was driving home from college, rolled my car, got shot out the windshield, landed on my face on the freeway, spent 9 hours in surgery, 3 weeks in the hospital, and almost a year in a wheelchair. I don't recommend it, however. But thank God, at that time, now I'm old, this was in 1981, before ADA compliance, before all of those other things. Thank God for my mom, who was able, with our finances, able to rent an electric wheelchair that she would pull out of the trunk of her car every single day at community college so that I could get myself around to those classes and stay on track and make up for all those classes I had to withdraw from. That was in 1981. It seems to me we have barriers today that make it almost impossible for people to do just that. We're pretty far behind, and we need to catch up. So thank you for what you do. God bless you for what you do, and thank you all for being here. And let's make life a lot easier for these folks. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Is Senator Mensch here? I didn't see him quite yet. Okay, we should move to our state. Is Senator Mensch here? Did you see? Oh, okay. State Representative Cheryl Delosier, would you like to come? And David Gates? We have together.
Hi, I'm a constituent, And I wanted to say I'm very proud to have voted for you, and I'm very happy that you are a supporter of ours. So this is Cheryl Delosier, my state representative, and she has been on our side for several years now, as supporting the Pennsylvania Assistive Technology Foundation.
Yes, thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you. It's always nice to have folks that are in your district that can educate you on so many important issues. And in this case, having individuals that you can call on when there's legislation and ask, how does this impact the community that it's set out to help? So having individuals like David and the ability to make sure that what we're doing here as legislators is the right thing to do. And assistive technology is one of those things. I can't add to a lot of the comments that have already been stated about it, but I wanted to give you a few statistics, because the bottom line is allowing people to live their lives to the best of their ability. That is what we want to do, and that is what the goal of these loans are. So the foundation has been doing this for 21 years and helping people to find solutions for their independence. The ability for us, since 2002, the foundation has issued $37.7 million in loans to 3,470 recipients. And I think that that's important, because the follow-up to that is the fact that last year, the ability for people not to pay back their loans was only 1.8%. That is extremely low. So these are great investments. These are individuals that pay back these loans. They use them for their livelihood. They use them to be active participants in our society, which is what we want. So the ability for us to make sure that these state dollars are used in the best possible way, if we could get a return on investment of only 1.8%, failing across the state, we'd be good. So this is a great investment. This is something that we need to continue doing. And in Cumberland County, I just wanted to let you know that they used it for an assistive vehicle, $1,800 loan for hearing aids, $1,600 for a computer, all within Cumberland County. So I want to encourage the continuation of using this, the continuation of your success, and I thank you for being a part of this each year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Another new person for us this year is Representative Kim. She's also comes from this area, and thank you.
Good morning, everyone. When Susan came to my office, she was telling me all the things that PATF does, and I'm like, man, you guys are like too good to be true. So I'm here publicly to show that I'm a new fan and supporter of this foundation. Just thinking of DJ, if she was pretty much stuck at her home, the valuable resource she is to drive an hour and what she offers, how many other folks who are older and disabled could provide that much to our community and our society? Thank you for leveraging $60,000 to my county, Dauphin County. I know it's changed lives. I will continue to be supportive, and thank you all for what you do, Susan. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Representative Markosik. We have a new coalition, new chairs of the ID Coalition, and both are here today to talk in support of us.
Great. So first off, I'd like to say thank you all for coming out today. This really touches home to me personally. I grew up with a stutter, actually. So I did not talk till I was almost 3 years old. I grew up stuttering. So I knew what it was like to have people bully me, to see that stigma attached to certain things. So I think what we're doing today is extremely vital, making sure that people have access to these programs that are out there, whether it be a chairlift or just anything in general, to make sure that everybody feels welcomed and can contribute to society. That is the biggest thing. People want to be just like myself, just like all of us, be normal. And I think today is a great day and just a great step forward. And I do truly hope that we can continue these grants programs into the future, and to also deeply make sure that we fund these programs, because a lot of people want to stay in their homes. They want to continue in their homes, and also with this help, they can do that. So I think it's making sure people can stay in their homes, feel a part of their community, and also give back. So on that note, I would just like to say thank you today, and you know that I am a very strong supporter of this program, and I will always be. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Representative Schusterman.
I am really pleased to be here today. Thank you for inviting me. As representatives, we're representing everyone in the Commonwealth. And I do want to say, I want to clarify what living with a disability is not. A disability does not mean a person must stay in their home. It doesn't mean the person cannot hold a job, and it certainly doesn't mean he or she cannot be an active member of the community. So thank you for all your hard work to make sure everyone is out there. I would like to share a story of my cousin. 12-year-old Lily, I have one more picture, we got to include Dad too. 12-year-old Lily is a vibrant young lady who has cerebral palsy, epilepsy, and a vision impairment. Lily uses power wheelchair full-time to navigate her community and relies upon a number of assisted devices to see and complete her schoolwork. That includes an iPad, a specific iPad. Here is a quote from Lily's mom. As Lily's mother, I feel that every day we're in a race against isolation. The clock is ticking for people with disabilities who are fighting to participate meaningfully in their communities. Despite our best attempts to support her participation in our community, I feel like I am fighting an unceasing number of obstacles throughout her day, and I've witnessed this. Whether it is physical barriers that make it exhausting or impossible to navigate public buildings and recreation centers, to working through obstacles associated with her vision impairment, technology, and universal design that can break us free from many of the other struggles. That's another thing. How frustrated are you when your computer crashes? Technology needs to be upkept and modernized. Access to innovative technology is the bridge between the individual and their environment that will fundamentally alter their lives. Lily is eager to participate and give back to her community now and in the future, but I worry about her becoming separated from the vision she has for her future self, one that I know access to more powerful technology could make possible for her. So it's time for us all, this is critical, to get Lily and others off the sidelines of life. Thank you very much. Thank you for all you're doing.
Well, and like Melissa has a relative who has cerebral palsy, I have a son, and Senator Mensch, you also have a family member, our longtime supporter, please.
Good morning. It's always a pleasure and an honor to meet with groups such as this, but this is one that's really very close to my heart. Our son, when he was 6 days old, was diagnosed with a condition. Told he wouldn't live to be more than 6 months old. He's 42, so he's beat that 6 months. And he did partly because, well, his mother devoted her life to bringing him along, but also along the way he has increased his ability to use adaptive equipment. So it's been a very personal, it's an experience that's very close to my wife and I. And during this journey with Billy, I'll call him Billy, that's his name. But during this journey, he went to a local hospital for crippled children. Can I say Shriners? But when we were down there, and he was down several times as they were trying to help him bear weight and learn how to use his lower extremities, I had a chance to go through the different wards and meet with the medical people and the people that were there. And when you see that kind of an experience, so many people benefiting from adaptive equipment, it's remarkable. And to realize how it improves people's lives day to day. It truly is something that I think affects everybody. I had a friend in Philadelphia who I said, you know, you ought to go up to Northeast. At that time, it was up in the Northeast in the Boulevard. So you have to go and visit Shriners because he had a family member with disability as well. And he came back and he couldn't stop telling me the experiences that he had as he went through the hospital meeting people that were benefiting from the medical intervention and, yes, much more importantly to us here today, the adaptive equipment. So this is something, you know, I liken it. I think back when we first started selling PCs back in the mid-'80s, they were bricks. And Billy is bound in a wheelchair. He doesn't walk, he doesn't talk, but he uses a touch screen computer. But in those days, the device that he had added as much weight to the wheelchair as the wheelchair, right? But he was good at using it. So it was something that he had to have, and the price was extreme. Today, they're just like we've experienced in the evolution of laptops. They're much smaller devices, they're much more affordable, and they do a whole lot more. And they're much more intuitive for these people to be able to interface and use it to be able to communicate much more routinely. So what you do is remarkable, the way that you provide the equipment to the people. I want to say thank you very much, and I know there are a lot of people through the state that are realizing much more beneficial lives because of your efforts. So thank you for what you do. And yes, we will continue to fight. It is another one of those. To me, it's a hard and fast must-have in the budget. So we will do everything we can for you. So thank you very much. Enjoy the day.
Thank you. And I really appreciate Thank you, and Senator Mitch, thank you for sharing your story. David Gates, thank you very much for our legislators sharing theirs. I think Representative Schusterman, forgot to say that the person, Lily, she's talking to is her cousin. So.
Well, I'm proud to be a board member of the Pennsylvania Assistive Technology Foundation, and I'm here to talk about another aspect of the Pennsylvania Assistive Technology Foundation. We don't just provide loans for equipment. We've embarked on a new enterprise, which is encouraging and developing a curriculum around financial education. So why is this important? This is really the next step beyond just providing loans. So think about it. How many here have sought to buy a house or to rent an apartment? You need to have credit to do that. Buy a car, again, credit. Even applying for a job, in many cases, prospective employers run your credit scores. So getting a loan from Pennsylvania Assistive Technology Foundation helps build credit, but that's only a piece of the story. What is going on now with the Assistive Technology Foundation is we're going beyond just credit, but really encouraging and developing the curriculum around financial education. So as Nancy Murray had mentioned, PATF has created and really refined this cutting-edge curriculum called Sense and Sensibility. This is for people with disabilities so they can have a voice in their lives, in where they live, in what kind of a job, where they can rent, whether they can purchase a vehicle. All these things are important. This is a project that has involved a number of other people, and I think that this credit really goes to Susan to a large extent, to the number of organizations that have come together to create this curriculum. Widener University, Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency, Vanguard, Temple University, Pennsylvania Department of Banking, the Federal Reserve of Philadelphia, Inglis Foundation, and through this, the Assistive Technology Foundation with Nancy Murray has created money clubs. They're actually using this curriculum in real life and have been very successful. This manual also has a companion manual for classroom use. There's a number of really important components in here. Talks about prioritizing spending, budgeting, saving, the effect on public supports, and how to do banking. It also talks about borrowing and how to use credit cards. And of course, it talks about assistive technology. You can download this at our website, patf.us. You can also do it directly online, and that address is studymoney, one word, studymoney.us. Lastly, PATF, as Nancy had mentioned earlier, is holding what I think is probably the first here in Pennsylvania, yes, the first here in Pennsylvania, conference on financial education. There's a whole lineup of great speakers and organizations that are committed to this conference. It will be held on October 3rd here in Harrisburg. There's a handout at the table, a save the date handout. We encourage you all to attend that. So that's really the next step in the evolution of the Pennsylvania Assistive Technology Foundation. Sorry.
Thank you, David. And in record time, and another one of our partners is here over near our table and near the ABLE table, and that is Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency. And they are helping us create our 6th edition of Sense and Sensibility, which will be released at our Financial Empowerment Conference, again, October 3rd. Lastly, one of our important partners is Agribility. And we came in, how many years ago? 15 years ago, to help farmers with disabilities remain in production agriculture. So, Abby Spackman?
Good morning. Thank you. As Susan said, my name is Abby Spackman, and I'm the Project Assistant and Case Coordinator for Agribility for Pennsylvanians. I'm also joined by my coworker, Kendra Martin, who is our Digital Media and Outreach Coordinator. I want to start by thanking Susan and PATF for inviting us to participate today. We greatly value the partnership we have with PATF. For more than 25 years, Agribility PA has provided a critical service to the Commonwealth's agricultural community, the people who feed us. Agribility assists farmers and agricultural workers with a disability or long-term health condition by providing direct services and the support they need to live independently and continue working in production agriculture. Again, the people who feed us. So if you ate today, you might want to pay attention. Some of the most common disabilities or health conditions that Pennsylvania farmers may have include arthritis, spinal cord injury, amputation, traumatic brain injury, joint injuries, and more. Several farmers and the assistive technology they used are highlighted on our banner, and you can see just how unique and diverse the assistive technology is that is helping our farmers stay active in agriculture. I would like to share with you the story of one farmer who worked with Agribility and PATF. In 2016, Ed began working with Agribility as his health conditions were greatly impacting his ability to stay active on his sheep farm. With Agribility services and assistance from the Pennsylvania's Office of Vocational Rehabilitation, we helped Ed gain a mobility device that was a utility vehicle. This enabled him to perform a wide range of tasks on his farm, along with providing him mobility everywhere he needed to go on his property. Last year, Ed became concerned about removing snow from his driveway and his farm property. So Agribility connected him to PATF for a loan, and he was able to purchase a snowblower attachment to use with his utility vehicle, and he's now able to independently remove snow from his farm. And he really had a great time using it and said he never enjoyed snow removal more. Ed's story is one example of how partnerships between multiple organizations supporting people with disabilities can result in a person gaining freedom and independence, and definitely dignity in their livelihood and their life at home. So I definitely want to thank OVR and PATF for coming together with Agribility to make such a difference in Ed's life. Any Pennsylvanian with a disability or long-term health condition who is engaged in farming or any agricultural-related occupation may be eligible to receive services at no cost from Agribility. We provide a wide range of services, mostly related to assistive technology for farmers. Agribility PA is a statewide partnership between Penn State Extension and UCP of Central Pennsylvania through a grant funded by the United States Department of Agriculture and the National Institute of Food and Agriculture. We have been funded in Pennsylvania since 1991, and we work hard to continue promoting farmers in agriculture and the work that they do, and we enable them to continue farming independently. And again, these are the people that are feeding you, so we feel like it's pretty important. Agribility PA does not provide direct funding. However, our staff works with PATF, OVR, and other third-party funding sources to help farmers and farm families obtain needed equipment, assistive technologies, and modifications. So we really, really want to thank PATF for the support they provide to Agribility and the impact they are making in the lives of farmers and farm families across Pennsylvania. Thank you, PATF.
Thank you, Abby and Kendra. Agribility does an amazing job here in Pennsylvania. We have lots of family farms. We have an aging workforce, and they really do a tremendous amount of work. And again, OVR has been a very strong partner, and Ryan Hyde is here, and is always, since he has a farming background, understands better than in most states where they're trying to convince other farmers, other funders, why this funding makes a difference to farmers. Nancy.
So I want to thank everyone again for coming. I also again want to thank the terrific staff at PATF. None of the accomplishments that you heard about today would be possible without Susan's leadership, my fellow board members, and all that you give the organization, and the team that comes together every day to review applications, offer information and assistance and referrals to an ever-increasing number of people calling for our help. And also, before you leave today, please pick up the Funding Assistance new book that has just been published, and a copy of our annual report, and make sure you put October 3rd on your calendar for our first ever conference on financial empowerment. Thank you for coming today.